Test, test. It's on now.
All right.
Okay, I have 6 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and call the Community Development Committee meeting to order. First item on the agenda is public comment. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to roll call. Alderman Sega.
Present.
Alderman Navarez.
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
Alderman Noble.
Here.
Alderman Swanson present. At this point, Alderman Barron and Alderman Prude are absent. The next order on the agenda would be the approval of the minutes from, we do not have the November 4th minutes, but we do have the January 6th minutes that were sent out last week. I don't know if you guys got them.
Excuse me.
I did. I motioned that we approve the minutes for January 6th.
I'll second that.
I got a motion from Alderwoman Johnson, a second for Alderman Osinga to approve the minutes from the January 5th meeting. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Minutes are approved for January 6th. The next item on the agenda is the bills, which I have a copy of somewhere on my laptop.
Do we? Are you looking for a motion, Alderwoman?
I was just trying to get the amount,
Oh, I don't,
the total.
$3,302.
Oh, no.
no, there's a big amount.
Do you have a total? Mine totaled it out. Go ahead.
It's $62,280.84.
Okay, Alderwoman Johnson made a motion to approve the bills in the amount of $62,280.84. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Alderwoman Noble seconded it. Are there any questions, comments on
Yes.
the bills?
Vice Chair, I do have
Alderman Osinga.
25-1 of 30, Grant Scribe for $2,000. What is that?
That is our final bill to Grant Scribe, which was our grant writing company that we had a contract with through our ARPA dollars that we did that work, and that was the last bill, so we are all done with that work. The last grant they worked on was for a riverfront grant.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Please note for the minutes that Alderman Prude is present. So we have a first and a second on the bills. If there's no many questions, I'm going to do roll call. Alderman Prude.
Second.
Alderman Osinga.
Aye.
Alderman Navarez.
Aye.
Alderwoman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Noble. Alderwoman Swanson is an aye. So, one abstention, 5 ayes, motion carried to approve the bills. All right, the next item on the agenda is the department report.
Yeah, Mariah's not here yet. Is she coming? I thought she was coming. Yeah, Mariah's not here, so we'll skip over that for the
Oh, it
United.
wasn't on my agenda.
Oh, no, so no, it's on. I skipped over department report.
Okay,
Hold on, let me get to department
all
report.
right.
Okay. So in the director's report, on that first screen, just to let you know, we have 32 housing rehab projects in progress right now. We did not hit my director goal that I set for the team for grants for 5 projects for healthy homes, 5 for lead. Not a bad thing. It's the first start of a new metric system for the department, And we learned a lot about how to get that pipeline going with all of the people on wait lists and how we do the intake process. And so a lot of projects that we were hoped to get finished at the end of the month are now getting finished this week and next week. So I am confident that we're going to hit our goal for those housing rehab projects in February. So, and we've kind of had some decent weather here, so it's been kind of nice. But 32 projects are in process. You can see the wards that we are in right now. We were able to finish one of our CDBG emergency repair programs this past month in January, and you can see that we didn't get any of the other projects done in January as we hoped. So lots of challenges working with homeowners and their schedule, weather, contractor schedule, people sick. So, but that's January for you in Illinois. So just if you want to scroll through, our general wait list for housing rehab separate from lead is 235. On the lead program, you can see our wait list is 95. You can see the projects that we have moving right now and what ward they're in. You can scroll through to Healthy Homes. You can see we've got seven projects there and what wards we've got working there. And we've been able to complete 6 projects on that grant program this fiscal year, just not in January. And then in the Community Development Block Grant, you can see between our emergency repair program and our single-family program, we've got 10 projects in process. And we've got things moving so you can see what's going on in the wards. And since the start of this fiscal year, we've been able to complete 8 housing rehab projects, and 1 we are able to get done in January. Our median income rehabilitation program through ARPA, we have 4 of those projects in process right now. We have 18 to get through on the wait list. We won't get through all of them, but we'll get through some of them. And we didn't get any completed in January, but we do have some in motion for February, so I'm looking forward to completing those. And our Community Development Block Grant Demolition Program, we're going to talk about the Fifth Avenue parcels that I have presented the bid for that we've already accepted, and just walk you through how that works with our grants. But through this program, we have 4 of those parcels in process. We have funding that will probably get us 8 parcels this year, so when we do this demolition, we'll be halfway through the funding that we have, and then we'll have the ability to do 4 more through our grant at some point through this year. And then also our public facility program, my goal is to be able to have the fire station roof bid for Station 4 and 6 out by February 17th, so that I can start the roofing projects on those 2 buildings early spring, as soon as we get some good weather, past that 54 degrees that roofers like. So, working on that. Public service program, just want to let you know that the drawdowns from the previous year and those allocations have gone underway. Options is the one that's gotten everything turned in. We are in February, March, and April. We'll start getting in the final reports from these agencies, and we'll start drawing down these funds for them. So we're right on time with that. The current public service application, we did get 9 applications, which is the largest amount of applications that we have received. We do not have funding for all 9 and what they have asked us for, so this will be a competitive public service process for us. We have not had this competitive of a process since I've been here in 2019, and from previous staff and what they've reported, we have never been able to spend the full allocation that we have been awarded through CDBG, so this will be the first year that we'll be able to hopefully spend all that money. So, yeah.
What's the amount that you guys get? The total grant amount?
So the total grant amount for CDBG is like
Oh, yeah.
600,000.
Then for-
So this year, for this fiscal year, there's like 50,000 for homeless services, and then there's, I think, 30,000 for other services that aren't having to do with housing.
Okay,
So, and before they lumped it into one large pool, which was like $70,000 a year.
okay.
So we're working on that current public service. In CAB, the Community Advisory Board is part of that selection process. So we have to get CAB solidified, which has been a huge challenge to work with multiple residents to try to get them confirmed and understand what the time commitment is and that they're available for meetings. So we're working through that. We still have a couple more wards of people that we have to work with, so, but we're doing the best that we can right there. Private security program, just to let you know, our goal was to process 2 new applications this month of January. We processed 4, so you will see those coming through on bills. And when we get applications, we're processing them right away, so send your people to us. There's not been any lights yet, by the way, it's been all cameras.
4?
Yeah.
4 applications since this started?
Yeah. My goal was that we would have 2 processed and paid out, and we did 4, so, yeah. For community outreach, we are still doing well. Our Neighborhood Walks initiative has expanded. We've relied on more volunteers to help us with the bags and with walking the neighborhoods. So even though it's been cold, we've been able to get to 250 houses in January. We're going to continue to evolve this program and consider safety measures as everybody participates, but wanted to let you know, it's still moving forward. And all of our social media is still getting better engagements, more likes, people are reading the blog. We have upcoming events that are in here, so if you want to take the time and look at all of those. One caveat in here that I want to point out is we originally had our contractor recruitment day planned for February 19th. Last week with all of the unknown of the federal freeze, we didn't want to move forward until we had confirmation that we would be able to pay contractors. So now that we understand how our grants are landing and fit into the federal freeze executive order, which I can talk more about when we get to that, we have just postponed that, and we're going to reschedule it in March now that we know that we will be able to move forward with the current projects that we have. So more coming, but we'll reschedule that contractor meeting. It won't be on February 19th, but we'll get it done in March. We'll do our annual announcement of projects then, and our annual request for qualifications for contractors to work with all of our projects. So just delaying it a month. Wanted to point that out to you. And that's it for me. I got it all in there.
I'm going to go ahead and turn this meeting over to Alderman Barron, who is now present.
Thank you, Alderwoman. I apologize. We're navigating a schedule of influenza A versus gymnastics, so it's a fun one.
Does that go together?
For some reason, it goes together here. Yeah.
With kids, it does, yeah.
Yeah. But thank you very much. It looks like we are through the departmental report. At this point, we're on to old business, I understand. So it does not look like Mariah Vale is here, but I don't know if you've had any additional conversations with her since then.
There is a meeting next week that Samantha Rocknowski will be participating in, but they haven't made any firm decisions. It does sound like they're getting a lot more engagement with other municipalities, which is great, but she's just looking to you all for the projects within the ward still.
All right. Are there any questions or comments at this point, or ideas that, if you know what your project wants to be, I'm happy to relay that to her, or if you could let Maya Barbie or Mariah herself know about those projects, that'd be great. For anybody that wasn't here last time, this is the United Way Day of Action. Last year we did it on Kankakee Day, which is June 21st.
Yes. I was like, wait, what day is that?
Yeah, but this time we're doing it on Arbor Day, which is April 22nd, so we're getting started much earlier. The idea is that all 7 wards would have a project, much like last year, staggered throughout the day so that people can go to many if they want. The 6th ward had, I think, a fleet of people last time. But if we could, they've asked that we could think about projects to have, and additionally, they made us know that there may be some funds available for those projects. They're looking to secure a number of sponsorships, so if we want to do something that might cost some money to do a project, that is an option. So they've asked for our ideas now, but if you have them, let's try to get them to them soon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Dave?
Yes.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry to interrupt. Do you know if they are going to actually send out anything to any of the local businesses asking for sponsorships? Or is this, do you think the sponsorship thing is like word of mouth?
I think the intention is after next week's meeting to be able to start sending messaging out.
Okay,
So I think they have a little bit more to plan since they moved it up.
yeah.
But they are making it,
Yeah, they're supposed to be
Available.
reaching out and asking and having a more formal communication process.
Okay,
I just don't know what the details are of that.
all right, thank you.
any other questions, comments about the day of action? Seeing none, we'll go into item B, Community Advisory Board.
Yeah, we are still working through that process. In the director's report, just talked about trying to navigate all of the people that we have reached out to, making sure they understand the duties, time commitment, and that takes a while to do. So we're still working through it. It is a priority of mine this week to wrap it up so that we can move forward and not delay anymore. So working as hard as I can.
Great. And then CDBG Public Service Program update, which I'm sure is affected by the prior agenda item.
Yeah, I talked about it. We have the drawdowns going. Options was the one that was able to draw down their funds. They turned in their report. The other programs will start turning in their final report now, and so we'll be able to draw down those funds. That's a previous fiscal year, and then this current year is where we have funding where there's $30,000 for social agencies, $50,000 for homeless services. We had 9 applications for this next fiscal year, asking for a lot more than what we have to disperse, so it will be a competitive public service program this year.
Any questions? Okay, let's move on to new business. Item A, looking for an update and kind of how it's going in the department.
Yeah.
With the freezing, then unfreezing, then kind of freezing of federal funds. So wanted to see how this affects your operation.
Yeah, I will, I'm going to ask Maya to hand out this one pager for you, just so you have it. This is what I worked with Senator Duckworth, Senator Durbin's team, and Congresswoman Kelly's team last week. This was the messaging that they received from us and used in their work last week, and so just wanted to make sure that you guys had that information as well. So Monday, the 29th, was when we saw the memo from the President's office to the acting director of the Office of Management and Budget to temporarily pause disbursement of federal loans and grants until February 10th, 2025. That original order is still in place today. So that order is still there. Members of Congress sent their letter in response to the administration's memo, also on the same day, later that evening, questioning the legality of the temporary freeze. And then, as of the evening of Tuesday, January 28th, that was when Judge Lori Alican, the district judge for Washington DC, issued the temporary stay, halting that memo to freeze the federal program funding until today at 5 p.m. as they began to hear some court cases. There's been additional court cases filed as this is all unfolded last week, so lots of work there. We received the memo of the freeze, the rescinding the memo to the Office of Management and Budget on Wednesday. I don't remember what day that was, like the 30th or something. Anyway, we got that. And so that was not very helpful because we didn't understand what the original order was, because that's still in place. And then we needed direction from HUD because we no longer, as of, up until January 29th at 2:40 p.m., we were locked out of all of our accounts from the federal system, so we could not access any of the money. So we were really unsure of what was going to happen. And was just trying to figure out how we were going to continue to operate. And so I began reaching out to our elected officials to try to help navigate some of the misinformation that was going back and forth with the memos and not really sure of how to proceed. So at about 2:40 PM on January 29th was when our access to our accounting systems was all restored. So we were able to get access back again, and that was a big sigh of relief. So the original order is still in place until February 10th of 2025. What they are reviewing for, and this is all public information, so it's not a secret, but what they are assessing in all of the federal grant and loan programs have to do with all the executive orders that were issued on January 20th and then January 24th of 2025. There's a list of them. I can share them with you if you want. They're just really lengthy to read, but they're looking for to make sure that they basically align with the administration's goals and objectives for all the executive orders that have been issued. What does that mean for us today? Well, today we do have access to our accounts. We already had established legal agreements and congressional appropriation from previous years to 2024, so our federal funds were restored. Other people, it's not in that same vein. If they were awarded something and didn't have it already wrapped up, they may be paused. And so there are several programs that did happen to. So I just kind of wanted to give you the timeline. I wanted to give you what's at stake. You have that in front of you about all of the funds that we have here that are federal funds from the Lead and Healthy Homes Grant, which is about $2.75 million. Healthy Homes Grant is $1.4 million. Community Development Block Grant is about $1 million, just over that. The East River Walk Grant is included in that $475,000. Also, just so you know, we utilize 9 local certified contractors. All of them are small business owners. We plan to be doing 100 projects this year. If we lost that funding, that would be 100 jobs, projects lost for these companies that rely on the work that they get from us. You see the projects that we have in process already. We have the 9 applications for social service funding that we would not be able to fund. And then all those people on our wait list, we wouldn't be able to serve them if we were losing federal funds. And to me, the hardest part is that out of the 9 full-time staff, 7 of these jobs require our federal funding. The administration of the department relies on these funds to pay for staff to administer these grants. So this department would obviously shift to not very many people if we lost the federal funds. So we are operating, we are doing our projects because we have access to funds. We know that we have these funds available to us. I anticipate that there are going to be changes in rules and regulations of how we administer them, mainly probably how we do intake and applications and work with residents. I don't know what those are yet, but you can read the executive orders and kind of anticipate what might be coming our way. What is unclear is I don't know what in the future notice of funding opportunities will look like. I don't know what is going to be available for federal grants in the future. So just keeping my eye open and trying to stay educated and informed. And we have great HUD representatives. And so they communicate with us when they know what's going on, and that's very helpful as well. So we'll just continue to work and we keep pushing forward. So that is the, as of today, up to date where we're at with that.
So Barbie, our accounts are back open, we have access to them. Is it your understanding that that's based upon the judge's injunction?
The judges stay, and the rescinding of the actual memo to the Office of Management and Budget.
Okay, so the February 10th date that's
It's still in place.
But when that lapses, it's not as though we're going to lose access again at that point?
I don't think we will, because our stuff is already established. So, but I also don't know what to expect in this world. I'm just going based off of what language we're seeing now.
And by establish, you mean because we have grant agreements in place for these particular items?
Yeah, before 2024.
Got it. So we have a vested interest. If they go back on them, that is a enforceable contract.
Correct, because we have a signed agreement.
Okay. Any questions? Clear as mud.
It is clear as mud.
Okay. Well, good work in navigating it so far.
Thank you. Just again want to say, really grateful for Senator Duckworth's team, Senator Durbin's team, Congresswoman Kelly's team. Sent them information late Tuesday night. We continued to work with them. They were very responsive, communicated every step of the way, and I couldn't imagine how busy they were going to meetings and trying to get clarity and still managing to send somebody from Kankakee, Illinois, an update at 9 o'clock at night. So I was really, really grateful for that level of advocacy for us.
All right. Again, any other questions? Okay. Let's go on to item B then, the CDBG demo project review.
Yeah, I wanted to bring to you guys the proposal for the demolition for our Fifth Avenue properties. They are on the 400 block. Many of you have been paying attention and just looking forward to this project happening. And I wanted to remind you of how the grant programs work and how the bid works, because this is going to be one project, one contract, 4 different properties. So it's going to look different than what we've done in the past because these properties are all next to each other. So again, just reminding you that ECDA does the annual announcement of projects and money being spent. We recruit the contractors all annually, and we go on a rotation bidding cycle with those 9 certified for federally funded projects. So that means I ask for bids for those people that are qualified to do demolition on my list of 9 certified and approved contractors. Then they get me the bids back, and if they're working on other projects, and this contractor isn't, I'm going to go with the contractor that's available to do the project. Just reminding you of how we do it, because we don't do it the way that the other departments do it, of going out to bid for every single project every single time. We do this on an annual basis. So, last year, we made the announcement that we were doing demolition, what the dollar amount was, we did all this stuff. So, I asked for the bids from our 2 demolition excavation approved contractors, which is Pat Ryan Construction and Clean Cut. I made the bid request on December 2nd, with bids due on December 13th. I only got 1 bid back. So, I'm moving forward with this bid. We have the money ready to go and ready to spend. I did this all the right way, but I just wanted you to see this because normally we would do a contract for each individual parcel and they would be totaling a smaller dollar amount. But because it's one contractor, I'm putting it all into one contract with a larger dollar amount than what we're normally used to seeing for CDBG projects. So I just wanted to get this in your hands, let you know what's coming before we get started. We still have a lot of work to do before demolition happens, but moving into the contract phase, environmental phase, all of the site prep work that has to be done before demolition can actually get done. So just wanted to let you guys know where we're at with that. I know I've had some questions about when is it coming down. The signs have been on there for 2 years, and notice has been done many times. Utilities have been shut off for a very long time. So we are finally here and ready to go. So just wanted to give you an update.
Barbie, does this bid go through the committee or go through the council for?
Doesn't.
No.
No.
Because
we do it all at the annual level, make all the announcements, we do all of the work that we're supposed to do. So that's why I wanted to bring it to you, because this is a much bigger dollar amount than what you guys are used to seeing from us. But most of our housing rehab projects have been in the 70s, 80,000. So, I mean, we're moving forward with all of those projects because we do the announcements annually. That's why it's important.
Alderwoman Johnson?
It says that it doesn't include any asbestos or lead. If they find asbestos, what happens?
We already did that work.
Okay.
Asbestos has already been removed. Midwest Environmental did that work like a year ago.
Okay, so we're good to go. No surprises then.
Yeah. There's stuff in there. They will have to deposit of it properly. They have to haul it away.
Okay, so there is, so
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. It's part of their removal, their disposal that they have to do, and it will all be spelled out in the contract.
Okay.
Yeah. If you ever need to see a standard ECDA contract, by all means, I can get it to you
For some casual reading.
for some casual reading.
Any other questions? Okay. Let's move on then to the item C, the CDBG Consolidated Plan
Yeah,
recommendation.
we're making good time tonight.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Okay, so it's that time of year. We're getting ready into all of the annual work that we turn in to HUD to make sure that we can secure our community development block grant funding for the next year. As an entitlement community, there are a lot of rules and regulations and community buy-in and feedback that we have to go through, which is why we have such a robust outreach program, so that we can get the information and be able to identify what the needs are, and then explain how we're going to spend the federal funds that were given to us every year to improve those lives of the residents in Kankakee. Every 5 years, we have to turn in a 5-year consolidated strategic plan, and that is this year. So all of the work from the previous 5 years, and then all of the data that we've collected in community outreach has gone into the development of this plan. We finished the public comment period for this plan on January 22nd. We've already done a public hearing that was recorded, and so it happened. Nobody was here, but we did it. And so I just wanted to make sure that you guys had the full written plan for some casual reading, if you'd like to do that. But tonight, I just want to go over the main parts of it so that we can make sure that we get through what the funding allocations are and take a look at those. Maybe the annual action plan section might be helpful to you. And if you have any questions or comments about the funding allocations, we have time before we submit this, and we've got a few weeks. If you have comments, we would like to hear that from you now during this time. So I don't think that you'll have any grievances with how this works. So, but just wanted to go through the identified need and goal based on feedback and data that we've collected from local, state, and federal sources. There is a need to increase the amount of affordable, decent, safe, sanitary housing for home buyers, homeowners, and renters. So our goal with the money that we would be getting, we would like to improve, preserve, and expand the supply of affordable housing for low and moderate income persons and families that is decent, safe, and sound. We would like to bring back our housing counseling program, which would have some incentive dollars for down payment assistance. So we'd like to bring in the housing counseling agency at about $45,250 for the year, with down payment assistance incentive dollars available at $25,000. We also already do this fair housing work with our South Suburban Housing Center, and we contract with them to do the investigations of fair housing complaints. So we've allocated some money for that contract to continue to move into the next year. Housing rehabilitation, we already do this work through our single-family repair program, and so we'd like to continue doing that by funding for the next year $100,000. And then the project delivery fees. So there are expenses to us as a city and as a department for administering rehab, all of the work that goes into the reporting, and all of the costs that we need to run our office, some of these. So we have project delivery fees built into the administration of these programs as well, and that's about $51,750. So that is one goal. Identified need and goal. So based on all that feedback, there's a need for supportive services and housing opportunities for homeless persons and those at risk of becoming homeless. And so our goal is to improve the living conditions and support services for homeless persons, families, and those who are at risk of becoming homeless. So this is that work in improving our continuum of care program, which is the HUD-regulated process for agencies to receive federal dollars in homeless housing. So we want to be able to continue to support the continuum of care, help to improve them, and streamline that process. They do all of that work, those agencies, in the emergency shelter, transitional housing, permanent supportive housing, and other permanent housing opportunities. So we've set aside $50,000 to be able to help in the public service arena with those agencies doing that work. It's not a lot of money, but it's there for us to be able to help our agencies. Another goal of the Community Development Block Grant is a need to improve community infrastructures, facilities, public services, and public safety, as well as eliminating blight throughout the city. The goal is to improve the living conditions of Kankakee residents through improving community infrastructure, facilities, public services, public safety, and eliminating blight. So this is where we have set aside $60,000 for clearance and demolition, $40,000 for facilities and infrastructures, and then for public services, that $30,000 to be able to help agencies outside of the needs of housing and homelessness services, to be able to support them. Our economic development strategy within this consolidated plan for 5 years with the annual funding amount that's in there is a need to increase employment, self-sufficiency, and small business support for residents of Kankakee. The goal is to improve and expand employment and entrepreneurial opportunities in the city of Kankakee. So in this annual action for the next fiscal year, we have just set aside development dollars to help with the support of business and commercial growth through the rehabilitation of storefronts, retail space, expansion of businesses, and the development of new businesses. Set aside $80,000 to help do this. There are small business incentives in the KDC district, but there are none of those other programs like that in the other areas of the city. So facade programs, rental, programs, things like that, that are favorable in the KDC district. You can't find that on East Court Street. You can't find that on the west side or south side. So just trying to expand and bringing some more offerings for help in that small business improvement world. Another identified need is, it's really part of the administration of the grant. We are allotted a certain percentage of the actual annual allocation to help pay for staff expense and office expense to be able to administer all these programs. And so we call that administration planning and management strategy. And so we have set aside, based on the percentage that they have given us, $115,000 to be able to contribute, reimburse the city for staff and expenses incurred for operating this program right here. So that is all of the goals and the objectives for the 5-year plan summary. I just summarized what's in the written document that you guys have, and I just broke down the headings of all the dollar amounts and what those dollar amounts are for you. Again, they're in there in a couple of different sections. The annual action plan may be the best section that's easiest to read. So, anybody have any questions for me?
Going back to community events, February 19, you said it was moved to March?
Yeah, we haven't picked the date yet, but we postponed it, and we're going to reschedule that in March.
Thank you.
Yes.
Barbie, on the document you gave us previously about the funding freeze, you have that figure there listed as, for the community development block grant, the 1.08 million, that's the figure that, the numbers that you just
Part
spoke about?
of that figure includes this next year's dollar amount. I had to think about that. Yes, the next fiscal year's dollar amount is included in that,
Okay.
which is about $600,000.
And the other portion is?
Left over from the previous 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you provide us with the summary document, or just, you gave us the full?
No, I just had my own summary document, but we can get that to you.
That was nice. Could you,
Yeah.
could you send that?
Yeah.
The one thing about the summary document, and even in the draft consolidated plan, is the upcoming year's action plan dollar amounts can possibly change. So those are still in the final negotiation at HUD. There really isn't much of a negotiation for CDBG. It is percentage based on
Population.
population. So, but those numbers are our best estimate to what we've gotten in previous years in our population currently. So those, like, specific dollar amounts could change.
Okay.
That's a good point. We'll get this to you guys so you can just read through this.
Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? Would be helpful to keep this on the agenda to, if there are any follow-up, and there's a lot of material to.
Yeah, it's a lot of material in there, and we're just at the beginning, so when we go to submit it, HUD may have more comments for us, and then we have to go back and make changes, and then when we do get the congressional approval, then those dollar amounts may come back, and we have to go back in there and edit it and change it again, so
Okay.
it's okay.
The ask is also, though, that it would be on
For city council approval.
Okay. That it be,
For approval with the asterisk of knowing that the funding amounts may change.
okay, first meeting in March or second?
I don't know which one yet, because I'm going to go through the timeline and make sure that we're meeting all of the benchmarks.
Unless there's any objection, I'll just keep it on the agenda here so that we have
That's
it
fine.
at the first March meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That is the last item we have for new business. We have no need for an executive session. Are there any comments from the alder people? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Osenga, second by Alderman Prude. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Stand adjourned at 6:40.